Shalom. Call Halam La Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai Bahashem Haracha'a Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that taught us this truth and sincerity. They steered us well and they rule well. Salutations to the hopeful elect. May the blessing of election be upon your house. This is the brother Zion coming at you with another lesson to feed the lambs through the Holy Spirit. Haracha'a Kodash. Lord willing, this lesson is edifying and to the point. And in this lesson, we're going to get into what is in Iran's 10-point ceasefire plan, and will the U.S. agree to it? All right, and we kind of know the answer to that already. The answer is hell no. Because at first it was a 50-point plan, and then they dumbed it down to a 10-point plan. And you really think America is really going to follow this 10-point plan? Because we're going to get into the 10-point plan because it's on this article. All right. They are not going to agree. They said that this is a fragile ceasefire plan or agreement deal. So fragile, when you examine that word, it means easily broken, easily destroyed. It's fragile, so you have a fragile ceasefire deal plan, whatever you want to call it, with a country you have zero relationship with. It's going to end up in nukes. All right. China was already secretly giving Iran nukes right up under the nose. And I'm talking about these are the most devastating nuclear technology that a human civilization can ever create. And it's there in Iran being fully equipped. All right, because technically Iran is a superpower without nukes. So they're being equipped with nukes to where they can be a superpower. And when we get into these 10-point plan that Iran want, in order for it not to be a war, they have to agree on everything 100%, or they can start negotiating on it. But 9 times out of 10, the stuff that they want, it's going to completely back out Babylon the Great as far as the oil is concerned. And this was on DJT's heart for like 40 something years. Nathan Ben Yahu's heart like 30 something. So this on their heart to take over. Now I got the U.S. and Iran agreed to a 2-week ceasefire on Tuesday, barely an hour before Donald Trump's deadline to obliterate Iran was set to expire. So now he's going to postpone it for 2 weeks and see what they're going to do. Okay, there's already a draft in December 2026. It's already there. Little nosebleed and Dada man finna go to Iran and go ahead and get the oil. All right, because mind you dealing with a people that ain't scared to fight or die. Ishmael was a wild man. So you already know they're gonna Allahu Akbar theirself into a suicide bomb, because that is literally what they're on. They believe if they die, they get 1,000 virgins for Allahu Akbar and all of that. So they don't mind dying. And you dealing with a country that have zero relationship. Now we have with Tehran agreeing to temporarily reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Israel also agreed to ceasefire, and the White House said as Trump announced he was suspending his plans to escalate attacks across Iran, the U.S. president said he had received a 10-point proposal from Iran, which was workable basis on which to negotiate. Now, like I said, the 10-point plan is to, okay, this is what we want, and we can negotiate from there. It ain't like this is what it is, even though they want it to be this is what it is. But they know they're not going to go for that, so they're going to have to sit at the table and negotiate. But it has to work in Iran's favor. Otherwise, Iran is going to disrespectfully decline, and then the war is going to amp up. So this isn't going to be a ceasefire. This is just the bullshit that they just tell the people as propaganda. This is propaganda. What I'm reading is propaganda. It ain't gonna be no damn ceasefire. It ain't gonna be no them sitting at the table working this shit out like grown ass men and all this other type of shit. Hell no. This gonna lead to world war, because it's all about what Yahweh Shema Shah say. Yahweh Shema Shah say, behold, the second woe is past, and Salaki, the second woe is past, but behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Yahweh Shema Shah said that, you know what I'm saying, that Babylon the Great is going to get pelted with thermonuclear fire. That's all through the scriptures. You know what I'm saying, that shall burn as an oven. You know, Babylon has suddenly found, you know what I'm saying, Babylon is suddenly destroyed. You know, it's over with for this place. You know, then you got DJT backing out of NATO, because France and Italy didn't want to participate in the bombing in Iran. So now he want to pull out of NATO, really alienating Babylon the Great and Israel against the whole world. That's why the whole world gonna bomb this place. You know, the prophecies is adding up. Like the manifestation of the prophecies is adding up. Now it say, but what is in the plan from Iran? Will Trump accept it? Of course not. Of course not. We already know he not. He not going for none of the stuff that's on there. Because you know what I'm saying, the things that's on this 10-point plan it is going to put Iran in a stronger perpetual standing position as far as the economy is concerned, and will literally make them a superpower over America, because you got to go to them for the oil. They got the Strait of Hormuz. All right, because all of the ships that's being out, that's, you know what I'm saying, that's coming in and out of the Strait of Hormuz, Iran make $1 million per ship right now. They want to make $2 million a ship, and they want to put it towards their so-called infrastructure and into so-called reconstruction. Basically, they're trying to build a new regime and trying to build that place up to where it don't look like a third world country. Okay, they're trying to focus on building and you know, and regime change. All right, but the plan of America and Israel is to bomb Iran 100%, make it desolate regardless of the fact. Take everything that you can take, and when you get done with that, you bomb the other shit too. Obliterate them. That's been on the plan since the 40s. They have the most purest oil. You got to mix the Venezuelan oil with the pure oil, because now they mixing it with water, cutting it, and then that's why you back at the gas station. So if you got that pure ass Iranian oil, you in the money, you know? And in order to facilitate a city, you have to have boots on the ground. You can't facilitate a city without boots on the ground. In order to facilitate Kuwait and Afghanistan, it was boots on the ground. But if you put boots on the ground in Iran, you're going to trigger other countries, and they're going to put boots on the ground over here. And these Babylonians ain't ready for that, because they fat, dumb, and happy. But anyway, what demands are in Iran's 10-point plan? Like, we finna get to it. According to the state media, Iran will only accept the war's conclusion once details are finalized in line. You hear that? In line That's the key word. If it's off, they're going to disrespectfully decline. And now it's war. And it's going to be war. With a 10-point peace plan reportedly submitted to the White House via Pakistani intermediaries. In the list of 10 points published by the Iranian state media include a number of conditions the U.S. has rejected in the past. The plan requires the lifting of all primary and secondary sanctions on Iran, continued Iranian control over the Strait of Hormuz, which is going to put them as a superpower because Israel wants the Strait of Hormuz. Israel want to own that. And you know, Israel going to break off America a little bit, and America going to constantly basically take all the money that it, you know what I'm saying, that the country can produce and give it to Israel. Everything is to benefit Israel, man. Everything. All right. The U.S. military withdrawal from the Middle East. And you really think they're going to take away all of the U.S. infrastructure from the Middle East? You out of your damn mind. So that's already a definite no. I already know that DJT ain't going for that. And end to attacks on Iran and its allies. You know they ain't going for that either. The release of frozen Iranian assets. You know they ain't going for that. A UN Security Council resolution making any deal binding. You know for damn sure they ain't going for that. It looks like it's going into war. DJT ain't finna do that. This whole list, it is a definite no. This entire list. This is going to lead to war. All right? Just like what the scriptures say, because it's all about what Yahweh Shema Shah say. The vision is yet for an appointed time. Matter of fact, I'm going to read this, and then after that, we'll get a couple precepts. What does the ceasefire plan mean for the Strait of Hormuz? The Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said safe passage through the strait would be allowed under Iranian military management. It wasn't immediately clear whether that meant Iran would completely loosen its hold on the waterway. The plan allows Iran and Oman to charge a fee up to $2 million a ship. You see that? They already make $1 million a ship. They're trying to make $2 million a ship. Billions of dollars go up and down that Strait of Hormuz every day. Billions of dollars. And they make $2 million off a ship just passing through. You got to pay that tax. A ship on vessels transiting through the strait. According to reports, Iran would then use the money it raises for reconstruction. You see, they want to build up their city. They focus on regime change and building it up, and America and Israel was focused on completely destroying that motherfucker. So if you plan on completely destroying that motherfucker, you're not about to make sure they get $2 million a ship. That is not going to happen. They are considered the enemy of Babylon the Great. So that's not happening. Now it say right here, will the U.S. agree to the 10-point plan and its Iranian proposal? Since the negotiations began between the Trump administration and Iran over the Straits of Tehran's nuclear program almost a year ago, the vastly different demands and the limits to what each side would concede have proved a barrier to any lasting agreement. Iran's demand that it retains control over the Strait of Hormuz has been highlighted as of a particular concern, as it held no control over the strait before the conflict began. The Democratic Senator Chris Murphy leapt on the comments from Iran, telling CNN, "Who knows if any of that is true? But if this agreement gives Iran the right to control the strait, that is cataclysmic for the world, because Iran gonna be taxing. They gonna be the superpower. They've been in the hole for a long time. They've been treated like dirty sand niggas and shit." So you already know what they gonna be doing. They finna put the tax on it, a nice sand nigga tax, and they gonna charge the shit out of you, you know, and putting them as a superpower, you know. And you know, Babylon the Great is fighting to make America great again, meaning that they want to be a superpower. So they not going for it. See, they trying to make it seem like in this article that they gonna come to an agreement and then everything gonna be everything and everybody gonna be, you know what I'm saying, you know that everybody gonna be all right. No, there's a draft in 2026 of December. So you already know what time it is, man. But anyway, real quick, let's get a preset. Real quick. Let's get Psalms chapter 55 and verse 21. The words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You see? Yeah, man, let's do a fragile ceasefire. Yeah, I'm going to hold it off for 2 weeks. And then after that, we can sit at the table and we can negotiate. And let's come up with a plan of where we can save the American people and the Iranian people. And we can help each other. Man, he sound like Dr. Evil, man. Okay? And Dr. Evil was full of shit in Austin Powers, too. Dr. Evil had that spirit of words smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. You know? Of Austin Powers, Dr. Evil, that's how this nigga DJT sound, man. Just like that nigga. Full of shit. Full of horse shit. Everything he's saying is bullshit. Esau Edom, the self-proclaimed white man, been feeding you through his government, all right, cupcakes, but they telling you it's chocolate, but really it's shit on the top of it. And they telling you it's chocolate, and people knows it's shit because they can smell it and they can taste it. Oh, what the fuck is this? This ain't chocolate, but no one says nothing about it. But they know what they're eating. You see what I'm saying? That is how the government feeds you your propaganda. That's how they feed you all of their bullshit through their mediums, which is through their media. You know? Now it says, his words were softer than oil, yet they were drawn swords. Now the plan is to destroy Iran 100%. So a ceasefire is for what? To try to keep some money going? You're still gonna bomb them. Even if the Iranians lie and they say, well, okay, we're going to agree with all of your terms. They can be lying. They already got nukes secretly from China. So you really think they're going to tell you all of their tricks up their sleeve? Because one thing I know, when Jake say he got a trick up his sleeve, he ain't talking nothing about magic. He talking about whooping your ass. And Iran, all right, they do come from Shem. They got a trick up their sleeve. They got a trick up their sleeve. And they ain't talking about magic. They talking about whooping your ass. So what they gonna do? Activate them sleeper cells? They already got them over here. Let anything happen over there, they gon' get active over here. And I think DJT know that already. Because this is all to usher in the MOTB. Everything that we talking about, it all boils down to the MOTB under a cashless society. This is just the manifestations, one step towards it. Okay? Now let's go to Habakkuk and we'll close out. Habakkuk chapter 2 In verse 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time. Okay, so each prophecy has an appointed time. It has a day, it has an hour, a millisecond, it has a day of the week, everything, all the way down to its smallest increment. And then it happens. Okay? We already got a draft that's going to be here December 2026. And then 2nd Ezra 1633 going to get activated. Where these women out here ain't going to have no helpers and no husbands, because all these young men, they going to be dying in the war, and the married men here going to die of famine. And the only ones going to be eating and drinking is the servants of Yahweh Shema Shai and rejoicing. The servants going to rejoice too and laugh at famine and laugh at destruction, because we tried to tell you now and you wasn't trying to listen because you prideful niggas. You he-through niggalites, man. So these niggas gotta suffer. This the only reason why Yahweh Shema Shai bringing Jacob's trouble, to make the 2/3 suffer. Look how proud they is, man. Something gotta happen to them. The Lord gotta do something. What are you gonna do? Just sit there and just watch it happen? Hell no. The Lord gotta judge these niggas. These he-through niggalites. They gotta get judged. For the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak. You gonna know that a prophet was among you. You gonna know that nothing comes back to Yahweh Shema Shai void. You're gonna know that. You're gonna have your 1v1 with prophecy. Everybody, include myself. We all had that 1 verse 1 with prophecy. The thing about it is, are you going to be in the midst of it or taken by it? Because if you ain't in this, because if you're not in this secret place, you're cooked. If I ain't in the secret place, I'm cooked. But I'm in the secret place. So are you, because you watching the video and you are a firm believer. We only talking to the hopeful elect. We not preaching to these he-through niggalites. They're dull of hearing. So why the fuck are we teaching them? We don't even give a fuck about them niggas. We only care about, you know what I'm saying, the hopeful elect. That is who we tend to. We not tending to these niggas. This is why Yahweh Shai got to bring Jacob's trouble, because of these niggas. Look at what they doing. These fucking gremlins. And they mammy ain't shit, and then the worse they is, man, you can just go on with these 2/3. But anyway, you gonna know that nothing comes back void to Yahweh Shema Shai. If he say something gonna happen, it's gonna happen. So it ain't gonna be no ceasefire. It ain't gonna be no coming together. It ain't gonna be no merging of nations. That shit is a wrap. What is you talking about? If that's the case, why you doing the draft and why you upping the age on the motherfucker shit? You already know what time it is. Come on, huh? It's simple. And not lie. You hear that? Though it tarry, wait for it. You know, you may think the prophecy is lagging or something like, man, prophecies ain't lagging. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Shema Shai operate outside of time. 1,000 years to man is a day to Yahweh Shema Shai. So prophecy is technically on time. We just living in the realm of time. That's why it feel like, dang, man, like it's slow. Man. No, it ain't slow. You slow. Everything is on time. If you got your spiritual glasses on, we at the end. All we need is Jacob's trouble, MOTB. And because mind you, the persecution, famine of the word is going to issue in Jacob's trouble. That's going to commence it. Jacob's trouble was commenced with the famine of the word. When the Lord snatched the prophets off the street because it's too dangerous. You know, all hell going to break loose. You really think we finna be out there on martial law It's finna be an oil martial law. You really think we finna be out there in the streets? We gonna be having indoor camps. Though it tarry, wait for it. You know, though it tarry, wait for it. You hear that? We gonna get a decree soon from Elder Apostle Tahar probably saying that we done a good job. We can't teach no more. That day is gonna happen. And this all we know. You understand? That famine of the word gonna hit this world something dumb. They ain't gonna know what to do. They ain't gonna have no way out, perplexed. They gonna be looking for every brother and we ain't gonna be there. Wait for it. You gotta wait. You gotta have patience. Calm down, man. How about y'all working? He finna get us on up out of here. Chill. Calm down. Be still and know. Because it will surely come. It will not tarry. Right. So you ain't got to worry about nothing, man. It ain't going to be delayed. None of that. It's right on time. You know, so this place going to get pelted with thermonuclear fire. World War III is going to happen. But it's going to happen when Yahweh Shema Shah say it's going to happen. Because it's already been written. So Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give infinite honors, praises, and glory to Yahweh by Hashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone that rule very well until this very day. Shalom to the elect, the sincere Akim wa Akwathium, trimming their lamps, making their calling and their election sure. Shalom.